Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Spirit Medium, Laura Mediumship and Messages. Here you can enjoy healing to happiness with exceptional, evidential and ethical spirit communications. Spirit Medium Laura has been channeling spirit for over 30 years. She is a research medium and is featured as a top 100 psychic in America. Here is Spirit Medium Laura now.
Hi, everybody. This is Laura. How are you all doing today? Hope you're having a great day. There is a website for the show called spiritmediumtv.com, and you can actually watch a live video feed of me there. That's why I call this a webinar, because I get to talk to you in the reading queue from Blog Talk Radio, and I also get to give you a vision, something to look at as well. Item 3 on spiritmediumtv.com is the live video feed as well. There you can get the phone number to call, which is, what is it? 347-945-5849. That's 347-945-5849, and then you can get into the reading queue. You can also make a donation to jump to the top of the queue. And quite often I cannot get to all the callers for the show, which on one hand makes me proud, but on the other hand makes me sad, because I like to be able to help as many people as possible. So that's why I created the donation of the 8 No Wait. That's Jump the Gate. Item 2 on spiritmediumtv.com. You can also join our mailing list, and you'll be provided in 2 articles a week, usually with a class in them or something helpful for you to live a more successful life through spiritual resources, as well as be notified of the show. And if I move the show elsewhere, you would know where it goes, because I don't know if I'll always have it on Blog Talk Radio. I'm considering perhaps making a strict webinar venue, if you will. So if you'd like to be invited to the free Spirit Medium Laura webinars, then join our mailing list, which you can do on spiritmediumtv.com. There you can also get a sale on a private session with me, which is item 4 on that page. And it's described there, but I'll tell you about it briefly here. If you're a radio show listener, either listening during the radio show or listening at a future point in time, if you go to spiritmediumtv.com, the instructions on how to get a private session with me and obtain a third more time free than that which you pay for. So if you pay for 30 minutes, you'll get a third more of that, which is 10 minutes free appended or added to that. Pay for 30, get 40 minutes. All you need to do when you book your session at booklaura.com is put in the event code field when you're making payment radio show, and voila, you will automatically have scored a deal. Okay, so today we're going to go into, as I usually do, a little bit of a webinar subject, something that hopefully can help everybody. And we all want to know how we can have more peaceful relationships or get what we want. I know there's a woman in the queue who was asking about a job situation, not for her, but for someone dear to her. And even for that, learning how to get what you want. If you have what I call conflict management, or you can just call it powers of persuasion, if you will, if you have a simple way, a simple idea of how to do that, you can obtain a lot more in life than you're getting now. Because quite often, people attempt to get what they want by bullying. Maybe they attempt to get what they want by just having a tantrum, getting angry, or perhaps even running away because they don't know how to deal with a threatening situation. So learning how to get what we want, learning conflict management, can be an extremely valuable skill to have. Not only if you're in sales, which is where this system comes from, but also for personal relationships. So on my website, spiritmediumtv.com is a page on my website. On my website, you can find articles or blog posts on the right sidebar. It's the right side of the website. And if you see conflict management for peaceful relationships there, you can click on that and follow me along in this particular webinar. If you're listening at a future point in time, just go to the right sidebar and there's a search box. Put in conflict management and you should be able to find this article. And as usual, I always have resources with each webinar subject, each article, each blog post to help you. And in this particular case, there will be a resource. Actually, there's three, but one in particular at the very bottom of the page, which is how, this is kind of cute, how to learn what men want you to know, but will never tell you, which is a form of conflict management, or how to get what you want in a relationship, actually stop arguments in their track and get what you want in a relationship with a man, or actually could probably be useful for everything. There's also an opportunity for you to join my mailing list there and obtain a free webinar called Soul Abundance, which is going to be foreshadowed in this article, why you would want that. So the system I derived, because I used to work in sales. I worked in sales for many years, but in the software industry as a consultative sale. I worked for Microsoft Corporation, for example, for 8 years. Wow, it's a long time to work at Microsoft. That's like, let's see, 24 years somewhere else, because it's like 3 times as many years as packed into 1 year. But anyway, they taught us, or we got some of the best sales training in the world, because Microsoft is, or was at that time, the largest software vendor in the world. I don't know what they are now or who is, but at that time they were very, very successful, and they taught us a sales model. So from that I derived what I call the love conflict management model, or how to use love to get what you want in a relationship. So LOVE in this particular case stands for the following. First step to getting what you want in a relationship. The first step to conflict management. The first step to getting a job if you want one. The first step to anything that you want or need is to learn what your adversary, what your opponent, if you will, or the person or thing you're trying to get something from, is all about. What are their issues? What situation are they in? What are they doing with their time? And the more you learn about a person, the more you understand their situation, the more likely you will be to open their problem. Because in each situation that we are in, there's always an implied problem. Okay? So for example, let's say that you're trying to get your husband to go with you to your parents' house on a Sunday afternoon, and he doesn't want to go, and you don't really know, why is he acting so moody? Why doesn't he, what's going on with this? So you just, you try to find out a little bit about what he's working on lately, what's going on and all. Well, you probably already kind of know. You find out after you learn, or you let him talk about it. Instead of going into a tailspin, let him talk. Let him talk. L is for let him talk. You'll find out he doesn't want to miss the football game on Sunday afternoon. This particular one is extremely important to him. So then the V of the word love stands for vocalize or verbalize a possible solution. So there you start a negotiation. Finally, you find a way to solve the problem, and you engage in the solution. The E stands for engage the solution. So you let the person talk to learn about their issue. Open the problem. That means you're finding out what it is. What's the resistance here? Vocalize a solution, a possible solution. You may have to go through that a few times to finally engage in an agreement. Okay, so I know I'm making a lot out of this, but when you think about it, quite often we jump to conclusions, okay, and we enter into conflict. Okay, we might have, like, for example, I know somebody who's listening to the show right now who didn't hear from somebody, and she, instead of learning what the issue was or letting that person talk, she immediately reacted and thought that it was a rejection. Okay, and instead, well, she didn't have a chance to talk to him yet, but understanding, if we can learn and understand what the issue is, what's holding that person back, we can see it from their perspective, we can open the problem. The problem is the person wasn't able to get to her, then he was busy, and then we can verbalize a possible solution and engage in that solution. So why do we sometimes jump to conclusions? Why do we sometimes jump to fight or flight? I know I did it. I still do it possibly here and there. When I do it, though, now I'm more aware and I'm much more vigilant in following it through. The reason is, on some level, we are unhealed. Usually, when we jump to a fight or flight response to a potentially conflicting situation or a potentially contesting situation, is because we are not healed in that area. So it's a wonderful way to see who we are by watching our responses, right? So, for example, once I was out with my husband, this is years ago. I hopefully wouldn't act like this anymore. But when I ordered a glass of wine, I already had one, and when it came to the table, my husband took it upon himself, didn't ask me, to take the new glass of wine, which is clean and pure and untested by my lips, and he poured it into my existing glass of wine. Now, in the restaurant business or in the wine industry, you don't do that because you want to taste the pure wine. I wasn't at a wine tasting. The wine wasn't that pure. But nevertheless, I got pretty upset with my husband, and I was screaming, and I really overreacted. And of course, it caused a lot of conflict, and never could really make up for that particular argument. We really can't make up for arguments, right? We can't make up for fights. Once they happen, and they always forevermore mar our interface with that person, our relationship with that person. Anyway, the reason I did that is because I was coming out of working in New York in a highly stressful environment for Microsoft Corporation for 8 years, and I was in the habit of being out of touch with who I was, didn't know who I was, and I was like a cat on a hot tin roof. If anybody hit me the wrong way, I would explode because I was very, very wound up. Similar to post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay? I had for so long suffered in a stressful situation that I was very easily upset by many, many things. So if you are getting upset easily, if you're entering to fight or flight or whatever it is, it's a symptom that there's some healing that needs to happen. And one of the ways to heal is to use the Soul Abundance course that I have, and you can get the intro to that for free by joining my mailing list right at the bottom of this conflict management article. You also can get a free copy of that little webinar, which is What Men Want You to Know But Will Not Never Tell You, which is also a lot about conflict management. So we're going to do a little exercise. I hope that you like it. It's going to help us develop this skill in ourselves. Okay? So if you would get a piece of paper and a pen, rush, 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 go get something to write on, okay? Sit back, uncross your arms and legs, and start to breathe abdominally, allowing yourself to get very light and relaxed. I'd like you now to think of a time that you had a conflict. Maybe it's something going on right now. Maybe it's with a boss or friend or family member. Think of a relationship and a situation in which you have had conflict. Maybe it's a parent that drove you crazy or a child that's out of control all the time. So imagine them in front of you. And imagine that one argument that keeps coming up, that one conflict. Imagine it right in front of you. And now, instead of snapping into your normal response of fight or flight, I would like you to do the following. Imagine that you're asking that person, what is going on? What is, the issue? Maybe there's something more that you don't quite understand. Allow that person to talk to you. Let them talk, or at least try to get them to talk. I'm going to be quiet while you imagine that for a moment. Good. And so as you allow them to talk, you let them talk, sooner rather than later, you will start to come up with potential reasons, and that's the opening of the problem. So just imagine now that you finally stumbled upon what the real issue is. Maybe it's your 3-year-old son who's like going crazy because he has to go to the bathroom right then, and you don't really understand why, and you just try to discipline him. Finally, he tells you, because if I don't go to the bathroom now, I'm going to have an accident. So you open the problem. Okay, so imagine that you're doing that now. Okay, good. And now you can verbalize some solutions or vocalize. So imagine that you come up with a solution. I'll be silent as you do that. Now I want you to notice when you verbalize a solution, and then you engaged in it. I'll let you think of doing it now. Go ahead and think of doing that solution. How did you feel? Did you feel a little different? Because I noticed I was doing it with with a little 3-year-old boy. I don't have a boy, but anyway, I was doing, and you know what I noticed is it didn't upset me as much when I understood why that person was offering conflict. So this doesn't mean that you're all, so in other words, I took that little boy to the bathroom, I pushed to the front of the line, and said he's not, he's going to have an accident if we don't get him in there right away. So sometimes we have to help that person. They're in a fight or flight situation. They're in a tough situation. So conflict management doesn't mean that you're always going to get what you want, but it also means you're going to be more peaceful because you're going to understand why you're being pushed or drawn to do something. So learning what the situation is, learning why that other person